So the trip is over.
Yep, and we're home.
We're home. And good to be home. Good to be in your own bed. However, sleeping on the couch was not bad.
For him, he can sleep anywhere.
Anyway, we thought we'd be coming home with a different coach. You know, this is a wonderful coach that we have and so on, but we got caught up in watching some videos from the Hershey, Pennsylvania RV show and saw a Super C. And a Super C is a Class C. This coach here that we have is a Class A, but a Super C, Class C, Super C is the big Class C. It's on a truck chassis. It's on a big Freightliner chassis, 40 foot long, the same size as this, and a little different driving and so on. And we did some research, and over 3 or 4 days, we started negotiating. There aren't a lot of them around in the country. I found one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So we were in the Panhandle of Florida and decided, you know, maybe we'll go and see what we can do. Not finding any, we found 2 or 3. We negotiated simultaneously with 2 or 3 dealers, got to the right price in Myrtle, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and we were going to go there and see. All that way, let's see if we can see one closer. So we went to a RV dealer in Orlando on the way home there, and we looked at it, and quite frankly, it was crap.
Yeah, it just didn't live up to our expectations. We're used to really stable, and we don't have a luxurious cope. It's older, but it's got quality. It's got good bones. And when you go into the Super C, it was kind of like walking into just not the quality we were.
Yeah, the cabinetries were not solid like they are in this coach. The finish wood,
fiberboard or something.
Yeah, no, they were wooden, but they were not the heavy oak ones we have. It just was not what we thought it was. We fell back in love with what we had, so we kept it.
Especially after Richard had washed and waxed the thing, and he goes, you know what? I really love this coach. So here we are, YOLO.
So a little recap of the trip. It was a good trip.
Yeah, it was a good trip. There were some things that were number 1 on his list, some things that were number 1 on my list, but we decided to put a little list together for the 2 of us and see what was the least likable and the best.
So, I don't know what was least likable.
Shopping for the Super C. I saw it there.
Super C. Yeah, that was. But there were so many highlights of the trip. It was very, very difficult putting together a top 10 or top 12. Branson, Missouri was very interesting. Entertainment, music capital of the country. We were able to see Legends in concert there, which is a show that was originated in Las Vegas, and I had the rights and produced it in Boston with a group of my friends, 20, almost 30 years ago. And so we were able to go see the theater. The theater manager happened to be Rob Horton, and Rob Horton was one of the Blues Brothers in Legends in Concert when we did it in Boston. And Rob is the production manager at the Dick Clark Theater in Branson, and his wife Janine is the general manager of the theater.
And they were very, very nice.
And they treated us royally. We had VIP seats, and then we were able to have dinner with them afterwards.
And the nice surprise is we saw a group called Pierce Sparrow. Oh my God, they were good.
Pierce Arrow, great country
gospel
sort of, rock kind of show. Really good in Branson. We went to the Titanic Museum, which was very, very interesting.
I enjoyed that, and they kind of did something a little different. They tied it into the Holocaust. Basically, it was people that were on the Titanic that had connection to the Holocaust, not in the same time frame, obviously.
And we went to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Yeah, that was fun, just standing next to our idols there.
Another highlight of the trip was Destin, Florida. We were in Fort Walton Beach. We had been there before. We stayed at a wonderful RV resort attached to across the street from a hotel which had beachfront and beach rights. And we could go to the beach there, although we didn't this time because the weather wasn't cooperating, but we did something that was really interesting, and that was
the helicopter ride, the Jaws adventure.
The Jaws adventure, and you saw that in one of our videos, and that was a lot of fun. And then afterwards we went to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, had some margaritas and lunch.
Kind of a little boardwalk. It was fun.
And walked along the boardwalk. Also, Biloxi, Mississippi. You wouldn't think there would be a lot to do there, but there are more casinos in Biloxi, Mississippi than anywhere along the Gulfport. And we took a shrimp boat tour.
Yeah, wrong time of the year to do it. I think we came up with one shrimp about the size of my pinky.
Yeah. But we did troll for shrimp, and we learned a lot about the shrimping industry. And then we took our e-bikes, and we went along the shore and the well, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles each way.
Yeah.
It was really, really enjoyable.
Give us something to do.
Yeah, and San Antonio, Texas was interesting. We toured the Alamo, and then we had lunch and dinner on the Riverwalk. Took a Riverwalk cruise.
Yeah, the little boat tour, and that was very interesting. But word of advice, do not take it on a full tummy. You will doze off, no matter how interesting it is.
Yeah, the carbohydrate coma, food coma.
Food coma. The other thing I found just awesome there was the cowboy Western art statues. Oh my God, the bronzes were to die for.
Yeah, that was interesting museum. So also in San Antonio, we did the caves and Hidden Treasure Adventure, and we went, I don't know, 100 feet below ground.
I think it was 150 to be exact.
And then we did Austin, Texas, and we met Donna and Cliff Carper, which are old friends of mine and great customers of mine, financial planners that I've known for over 30 years. And they were living in Austin, and they saw us on Facebook, and so we met up and we had a wonderful dinner with them. And we also, in Austin, there are a lot of parks, and we e-biked in a couple of parks, and that's where we saw the waterfalls, right? Was that in Austin?
Yeah, it was kind of little waterfalls off the flat boulders, and it was very nice. There are little parks just off in Austin.
So then Moab, Utah. A lot of people don't know where Moab is because of the tragedy that recently happened in Moab. Everybody knows Moab, but that's where Arches National Park is, and it's a wonderful national park with formations and arches and red rocks. And
I enjoyed climbing around all that like a kid. I found my inner kid, and I think after a while you thought, she's having too much fun, so you joined in.
I started walking then. And then we took the e-bikes on a trail, and we went along the Colorado River, which was really cool.
Now, mind you, this is like 90+ degree weather we're doing all this.
So then Buffalo, Wyoming. It was only a one-night stop, but it was an interesting town. And
Surprising.
it was surprisingly a lot of restaurants. There were 4 or 5 good restaurants there. We picked one, which was an Italian restaurant called
Paisanos?
Paisano Italian restaurant. Had one of the better meals that we had on the trip we had there, and that was cool. And then we were in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Now we're getting into the top 5. And Jackson Hole was very interesting. We met with Paul and Nancy Martini. Paul was a partner and an owner at Commodore Builders, and when we merged the 2 companies with A.J. Martini Builders in Boston. I've known Paul for years, and they now are retired and live out in Jackson Hole. So we met them from dinner downtown, and also in Jackson Hole we found a mineral spa.
Yeah, and it wasn't in the river because it was too cold for that one, but it was just kind of like a man-made mineral spa that was really nice.
And swimming pools, and we spent the morning doing that.
And in Jackson Hole, in the main square, they have all the antlers that we got to pose under.
Yeah.
And remember the cowboy saddle seats in the bar?
Yeah, $1 Million Saloon.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of that.
It was a
but that was
steakhouse,
pretty awesome.
and it was very interesting. And then we e-biked again there, and we went up to Teton Village, which is the ski resort out there, and we e-biked and took a trip from town up
one
there.
way to see a ski resort. But you know what? The kids these days, they're doing the mountain biking or the, gosh, what is that? Where they do
Extreme
the
biking.
extreme biking. They go up in these trams and then they come down these slopes where they ski. And these kids are anywhere from 9 to young adults. It's amazing to see the courage, and they have no fear.
They don't. Number 4 was we were in Hill City, South Dakota, and we saw Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse Mountain, which
Yep.
was really very, very interesting. In our lifetime, it won't be finished to be carved, but it's going to be a terrific monument to one of the leaders of the
Nation.
Black Hawk Indian Nation, I think. We did the Custer Museum
That was
in
interesting.
Custer, South Dakota.
Yes.
And then we spent some time in Deadwood. We never actually went into Sturgis. Virginia wasn't interested, and so we never went into Sturgis, although we were there during the motorcycle rally, and there were a lot of motorcycles. But we were in Deadwood, and Deadwood's an old mining town, and we went to 2 galleries. We saw David Yule, who I have a lot of his motorcycle art over the years, and David's a good friend with Greg, who's his partner. And we also saw Scott Jacobs, who's another artist who I have some of his pieces, and we were in his studio store.
And I really enjoyed meeting with him. He was so kind and generous. He has or I guess opened up his studio upstairs to allow me to go and just kind of look and see what he was up to, which is highly unusual for an artist to do.
Yeah.
But he was very generous. He runs a school, and he's just one of a kind. His work is just beautiful.
So number 3 on our list was a general one, and that was relaxing. And we did some relaxing. You know, one of our favorite campgrounds, we've been there twice already, is Gunter Hill Campground and Park. It's an Army Corps of Engineers park, and it's right on a river. And we had a beautiful campsite and enjoyed it there. And we met some new friends, Rocky and Paula, who had a Super C, a Renegade Super C.
That's what started. Thank you, Rocky.
And that was towards the beginning of the trip. And Rocky just retired in the automobile business in Phoenix, and they're full timing. Sold their house, sold most of their belongings, put in storage what they didn't need, and they're traveling all over the country in their Super C. So we had some fun time with them, and we went into a town called Platteville, Alabama, just outside of Montgomery, short distance from our campground, and that was a cute little town.
Yeah,
Had a
lots of
nice
good
dam
food.
and some interesting restaurants and shops, coffee shops.
Yep, and an awesome dam there, and you've seen the video regarding that. But one thing we like about Gunter Hill is we're right off of that river, and it's so just peaceful, and the wildlife and the fish jumping up to get the mosquitoes. You just don't get that anywhere else.
And then there's Albuquerque, and Albuquerque's one of the highlights of the trip. Number 2 was our balloon ride.
Yes, that was awesome. I'd always wanted to do it, and I remember mentioning it a few times, and it just never worked out. Where else to do a balloon ride but in Albuquerque?
Matter of fact, this week, on the first weekend in October, is the big Albuquerque Balloon Fest. So there's a lot going on in Albuquerque. Then we took a tram ride up to Sandia Peak,
Yes,
and we went to the
that was a nice surprise.
10-3 restaurant, which is 10,385 feet above sea level,
Yeah.
and we had a wonderful romantic dinner up there.
That was very nice.
And number one on the list was another general topic. It's hiking and exploring and the wildlife that we
All
saw.
the national parks, I mean, they all had their pluses.
Yeah.
And I think out of all the national parks that came into mind, for some reason, Capitol Reef just keeps sticking out. A little unknown, little small Capitol Reef Park, just beautiful.
The only thing is we didn't have any electricity there, so we had to run our generator, and we only could run it a few hours in the morning and a few hours at night.
So we suffered immensely.
So we didn't have a lot of air conditioning in 90-degree weather. And we had no cell service, and we had no internet service.
So what else do you do when you don't have any of that available? You go hiking.
And we climbed that damn mountain, man.
It was Natural Bridge. And Richard, we get halfway up there and we discover more water, need more water. And what do?
I sent her for more water. So she
And-
had to go down a half a mile and come back, and I kept going. Sitting on a rock way up in the mountains. And way down there is where we came from. Those two guys. So it's about a mile or so down the hill. Long, long way.
Yeah. Can you imagine? He
I got
went
to the
all
top.
the way up to the top by himself.
I got there. And another highlight of the hiking and exploring, of course, was Yellowstone and all the geysers and all the lakes. And
Oh, that is
rivers.
just one beautiful place. I can't say enough about Yellowstone. It's like God's paradise is right there.
yeah, we saw lots of wildlife, and that was all of the bison and buffalo when you saw that in previous videos. And then I guess another joy was the Badlands.
Oh, yeah, the Badlands. It's just mesmerizing. It's just something like you never see anywhere else.
It's in South Dakota. It's in interior South Dakota. It's about 2 hours east of Rapid City, and it's like the surface of the moon. You don't see the formations and the rocks and the hills and the valleys and the cliffs, and it's
Only
just beautiful.
all these different beautiful colors. You just can't imagine that anywhere else.
We went out for a sunrise in the morning, and a bison came roaming right by our car and
Yeah.
stopped in front and sort of looked at me and then just kept on going. It was pretty funny.
Actually, going out that early, we got a full dose of all the wildlife because they like to graze early in the morning and late in the evening.
And then one of the mornings that we stayed there, Virginia went out early and did some painting, and you'll see one of those paintings later. And finally, in Grants, New Mexico, outside of Albuquerque, was a dormant volcano.
This was just something we kind of happened onto, but how often do you get to say you went up to a volcano and got to see the top of it?
It was a climb. She was trying to kill me again.
By that time, he was done with the hiking.
But we had climbed all the way to the top, and we were actually in the bowl of the volcano. It's been dormant for hundreds
Doesn't
of
look
years.
like it's 10,000 years.
Yeah. And then also in that same area was a deep natural cave.
Ice
So-
cube.
Ice cave. So we
Yeah.
went from 85 degrees down.
To 31 degrees. I
How many
think they
steps?
say. Over 100 plus.
100 steps down on a staircase, and it was 31 degrees?
Yeah.
Just freezing.
Yeah.
And it was all ice in the cave. And
I couldn't get out. of
nothing
that
much
thing
but an
quick
ice
enough.
cave, and came right back up.
Yeah.
So that was the trip. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed following along with us. We had a great time. Looking forward to the next adventure. We don't know when it'll be, but if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Down below, hit subscribe, hit the notification, hit that bell and all. And if we post any other random videos over the next few months, you'll get to see them. Thank you, and we'll see you on the road.
You done?
We're done.
Good.
We're really done.
Thank goodness, I'm tired.